Tim. It's always good to have you back here. I know you've been working pretty damn hard the last week down in Utah. Maybe somewhere around a certain ranch. I'll let you give it away if you want to give it away. If not, I'm not saying anything, but I'm glad to have you back, my friend.
It's so good to see you, buddy. It's been a while.
It has. It has. I mean, I notice you've forgotten your razor blade. You seem to be, trying to look like the man, the myth, and the legend, Dave Scott.
That's right. That's right. It's a beard in training. I've been watering it daily. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. I'm very happy to hear this. But thank you for taking time tonight. We got a couple of big stories. We're going to talk about one that you are going to work on or that you're currently working on. And that's the reason why you're not at home, but you're out in Utah hanging on out with some very special people, including names that people will recognize here. Gentry Anderson from our After Hours show, Terry Hall, the Scowling Greg O'Brien, and others. And you know what? It's good to have you guys out there. But we're going to start off with Hal Putoff here tonight. And, this was a story that kind of broke over the weekend where you had this really interesting, how can we put it, peer review of Woo.
Yeah.
Fill us in, man.
So Hal Putoff is in the news again. And the new paper, well, it's not a new paper, but a revision and a re-release of some of the data that was written a few years, I believe in 2016 was the original release of this. I could be mistaken. Is that the correct year of the original here, Dave?
I believe so.
Yeah. And so basically, we're looking into ultra-terrestrial models and some theories that have been put forward on how they're getting here, and maybe a little bit of information on the phenomenon itself and how it interacts. So again, this came in a recent release from the Journal of Cosmology, and the ultra-terrestrial models described in this paper are coming from the Institute of Advanced Studies, which is actually in Westlake Hills, Texas. So a few of the breakdowns in the abstract I can just briefly go over here is that there is an unidentified phenomenon interacting with the current human population of Earth. A second part of this abstract, which is a big part and a portion of this, is that it is currently unknown whether the phenomenon is exclusively extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, crypto-terrestrial, demonic or jinn, proto-ancient human, or time travelers. So there could be other combinations there within or mutations of these as described in this paper. However, it appears that highly likely that the phenomenon per se is not consisted exclusively of members of the current human population. So that means that this is something not exclusive to Earth. And so in this paper, they address the above under the overarching theme of ultra-terrestrials in order to develop a template to be matched against data at hand that may be procured in the future. So basically what we're getting here is an outline and a description of potentially what this phenomenon looks like, so that investigators and people that are looking to research this, such as myself, have an outline to work from. And so with this new release in the news, I got very excited when this was forwarded to me by all of my friends and sources that I needed to pay attention to this. So I'm excited. Dave, please, let's hear your input. I have only scratched the surface here. I'm ready to dive in with you.
There's a lot of confirmations in this report. And if you go into our YouTube channel, I'm actually going to put the link in there for everybody to read. All right. And if you have any interest in this subject, remember, this is a peer-reviewed study. This has been sent to other scientists and people of academia and the government all around the world. Okay. Anybody can read this. And I think we have to also, explain, Tim, before I go any further, for our audience, who is Hal Putoff, for people who may not know?
So he's a doctor of science and a physicist and mathematician and a theorist. And I believe he has a background in chemistry as well. And so he's been in theoretical science for, I believe, almost 30 years now. And he's worked with lots of greats in the topic. And for example, down at the end of this, some of the credits are Richard Dolan, Philip Corso, Blumenthal, and let's see, Lakatsky and Kelleher. So Jack Vallée also. And so these are the people that are within his work group, and just a few names to scratch the surface. And so
Right.
these are the people that are on the cutting edge of this phenomenon. And so there's a lot of theory along with a lot of data, and they're trying to compile something that is actually an outline of what this could look like as far as what an ultra terrestrial would actually do and be.
Well, the other thing that if you look through the fine details and read through this, one of the things that caught my attention was in section 3.1, the extraterrestrial hypothesis. In this scenario, crash retrievals of nuts and bolts alien hardware have occurred, the detritus of which has been distributed in the U.S. to corporate America, the Colonel Corso scenario. Setting aside the specific claims of Colonel Corso, if such is the case, certain telltale signatures should emerge under scrutiny. Moreover, some evidence indicates this could be the case. Right there, he is saying that the United States government is, in fact, holding on to sort of metamaterial hardware of UFOs, UAPs. I'm sorry, I can't use that term. We banned UAP on this show. Of UFOs or other foreign anomalous objects. So that's ours. FAOs, foreign anomalous objects, okay, that could have somehow made their way to Earth. And I find that very interesting because in a peer review claiming that we do have crash retrievals, that is, to me, a very big confirmation. Now, where they've gone, whether it's Battelle, whether it's Lockheed or Bigelow Aerospace or SpaceX or wherever, that's the question that we need to figure out.
That's right. That's right. And to follow up, if biological specimens have been retrieved, the development of unusual lines of biological/genetic inquiry by highly qualified professionals whose career path would seem to diverge suddenly from what might have been extrapolated from their earlier work, research into the retroviruses. So we can see that they've really expanded a lot of this into some of the other research that's going on in some of the bio fields. And so it's very interesting to consider what they're looking at as a bio specimen. And that's interesting too. What if they have bodies? What if they're working with more information than we even know about? And so we may be considering viruses one thing, and they may be looking at them as something else. I find that really interesting.
Well, the other interesting part about this, too, is if you read on Fylth, we have been talking over the last number of weeks on this show, Tim, about how the phenomena is everything. And there's been a lot of people arguing about this. Is the paranormal different from the supernatural, which is different from cryptids and consciousness and near-death studies and poltergeist activity and UFOs and aliens and time travel? This peer-reviewed report by Hal Putoff really puts it into perspective that the phenomena truly is everything circled into one, and that it's really the first hardcore proof we have publicly that the phenomena truly is everything, and we just aren't really sure what everything is.
You're so right. And what a great topic that you had tonight with your guest from MUFON. And I appreciated that you actually covered this exact topic, because I found it frustrating that MUFON itself has broken away from the fact that, they're not interested so much as in the phenomenon as just UFO. And obviously we're learning, and myself here on this research journey I'm on right now, I'm learning that there is no separation between the two. They're absolutely blended. So, people that are experiencing one will potentially be experiencing something else in the realm of the phenomenon, which isn't exclusive to UFO. And so, again, we need to look at this as a whole. We can't just identify one as being something as an individual and independent source. It's definitely kind of all encompassing and all interacting somehow with itself. It's ever changing. I mean, it's really one of these things. It's an ever changing topic, and it's hard to have an opinion on it because there's so much data that changes all the time. And so for Hal to be coming out with this paper at this time, I find very interesting, because again, the timing of these things is so important, Dave. And we've talked about that, the synchronicity of these things, the timing of it. Seems like it's pretty ironic.
It's funny that they're using the word ultra-terrestrials, because this is a term that Alan Greenfield has been using since 1994, his book, The Secret Cipher of the UFO Knots. And even when Alan has been on this show, it has been very, very formal, where he has been quick to correct me when I say extraterrestrials. He's been saying, no, ultra-terrestrials. Covers absolutely everything. And now in this peer review, section 4, we actually have a section called ultra-terrestrials. I'll read a little bit of this. As a focused example of broadening the scope of our investigation, let us consider the ultra-terrestrial hypothesis as defined above: ancient occult group, isolated pre-diluvial high-tech society, stranded ETs, in quotation marks, gods, example, sequestered terrestrial cultures existing alongside us in distinct stealth. And then he goes on to say, looking down on it, that interactions with humanoid genotype ranging from modern humans to creatures, including sightings of little people over the centuries, which we hear from First Nations people, encounters with non-humans that haunt our folklore, let alone genetically engineered biological robots or drones, all variants within the lexicon of alternative forms of the human genome. I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about here regarding the phenomena being all-encompassing and all-in-one. We got 30 seconds before the break, Tim.
No, you're absolutely right. And I'd love to highlight the fact that you used the term UFO knots, because that is classic. I haven't heard that in a long time. Love to bring that back too. But it's interesting because some of the history that Hal has is, in concept of CE5 and things like that, and stretching the imagination to make contact. So the right people are making this public. This is the sort of change that we need to see. And Dave, I appreciate you bringing this to the forefront.
Well, you know what? We're going to talk a lot more about this as time goes on. But when we return on Spaced Out Radio, little Timmy Seanor's in Utah looking for aliens, looking for UFOs. We're going to find out what he's up to next. Segment 2 of the UFO Report. All right, we're clear.
Throw me some of those grapes, buddy.
Not a hope in hell. These are mine. You have no idea how. Honestly, like, I was sitting there the last half hour, and I mentioned the grapes, and all of a sudden I was hit with this really brutal hunger headache, where when your eyes start to get sore, and I was like, screw that. I'm going at the break to get them damn grapes.
Attaboy.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Get your blood sugar up, pal. It's good to see you. You're feeling better from Vegas. You're all healthy and sprite. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Hair's getting long. The beard is getting shaggy.
The beard is going to get trimmed here soon. It's to the point I can't handle it. It's not winter time yet. Come September, I'll start growing it for the winter. End of September into October, and then we'll get some real nice, good stuff on there. Is that Santa Claus look?
Are right you sticking to the caveman diet, or have you moved on? How's that going?
I really haven't been eating much. I haven't ever since I got back. Awesome. I haven't been eating much.
You've been focused, bud. You're killing it.
I know. I'll tell you though, I'm not losing any weight. Like I one day I'll be like down 9 pounds, and the next day I'm up 3, and then the next day I'm down 1, and then I'm up 4, and then I'm down 2. Like I'm all over the place right now.
That's totally normal, by the way. Just stick with it. That stuff will end up leveling out. Just stick with it. Yeah, man, you're doing great. I'm super proud of you.
Yeah, me too, man.
Man, it has been crazy hot up here.
Dude, what's it like being able to fit into a size adult small?
It's nice, I guess.
Yeah, what's that like?
I'm a medium. I'm not. Well, I do have some things that are small.
Dude, I haven't seen.
Why are you touching my balls?
I haven't seen medium since I was like 15 years old.
Yeah, I think I wear a 32 or something.
Oh.
Well, I mean, and that's a little loose, to be honest. But you know what, buddy? I'm going to be honest. I drink a lot of water. I don't eat a lot of food.
Yeah, I drink a lot of water, like you, man. A lot of water. Except for the watermelon Jack Daniels coolers. I had to get into those last night. I had a couple of those. Those are sweet. What's Peter say here? The differing levels of hygiene here are distracting. Tim is well groomed, and Dave Scott, with 2 T's, looks like he was recently pushed down a flight of stairs by El Ovni Volador, not of this country. That damn El Ovni Volador! I tell you,
some skills. I've heard that dude has skills.
That dude right there. I'm gonna tell you right now. If I ever run into him, I'm gonna kick his ass.
Pushed away the grapes. He's pushed away the grapes, folks.
I'm gonna kick his ass. And if he comes walking through that door right now, El Ovni Volador, you stinky jerk, you. I'm going to literally punch you in the face, and then I'm going to rip your mask off.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
If you can make that happen, I will just jump for joy. I don't know what else I can say.
That son of a bitch, El Ovni Volador. What a dirty bastard he is.
Your personal nemesis. I love it.
Yep. I can't stand him. Cannot stand him. Corbanian, how are you, man? Welcome to the show, buddy. Goddamn El Ovni Volador. Jeez, Pete Leibel, you got me fired up now.
He knows how to push your buttons.
Oh, that El Ovni Volador, you have no idea what a pain in my ass he is.
Does El Ovni stand for UFO or something?
Apparently, it's the flying UFO.
Okay.
In Spanish.
Yeah, that's excellent. What a horrible name for a jerk.
I know.
He does have a nice mask, though. I appreciated the mask. I saw it. I liked it. Is that sequins on there I saw?
I don't even know. I don't.
Yeah.
He attacked me without even looking to take over the show on Friday night. Like here I was just getting ready. I do a little meditation before the shows, and I stand up because I got to go to the bathroom. I stand up, I walk out the studio door, and all of a sudden I feel whack on my back, and I look up, and there is El Ovni standing above me with a steel chair, and as I got up, 2 right to the back of the head, dude. I was knocked out. I was completely knocked out, right? So I ended up, finally waking up, and I guess the show was over. I guess he hopped in the seat here and ran the round table. But,
I might have caught some of that.
Jerk. Hey, big thank you to Martha, Dry Toast, Bob, Lala, and Smithy for the super chats. Here comes the final half hour of the show right now, guys. Hey, we rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always a pleasure to be sitting in the captain's chair with all of you tuning on in. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the UFO Report. Joining us is Tim Seanor, as he has been hiding in the deserts of Utah recently for the last week. And Tim, I've kept it kind of quiet on what you've been doing out there. You missed a couple of shows last week because of chasing things that may not be there or shouldn't be there. Why don't you fill everybody in on what you're doing?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. And at this point, the team is almost done. We have 2 more days here up at the location here in Utah. And after that, there's no NDAs or anything. The team is totally welcome to talk about the experiences. A lot has happened. We have tons of data to sort through. I've worked them really hard and around the clock, and they're working in shifts. We can talk about the location if you're curious. We basically have a ranch up here in between Blind Frog Ranch and Skinwalker Ranch on either side of us in this valley. And we've been investigating here and at Blind Frog and some of the surrounding areas. And a lot of the data that we're finding is very much similar in all of the locations that we've been. But absolutely, some of the things that we have seen in the past are absolutely repeatable. So some of the data that you have seen on some of the shows, as far as EMF details, spikes and readings, we're getting the same sort of anomalies here, where one day it'll be completely flat, 0 natural readings. And then the very next day, it'll have massive spikes all over the area. So basically, just to give you guys an idea of how we did our research, we absolutely go by the scientific method in our approach. So anytime we're out taking readings, we're doing it with multiple reading sources, multiple devices. And so when we initially went out, the first few days were spent doing groundwork, geological survey and analysis of rock and rock formations, looking at topography and talking to locals and local scientists and geologists and paleontologists to kind of get a lay of the land and to understand where we were and to see what an anomaly would look like here if we were to come across one. So that's how we kind of started getting a groundwork. I mean, all the time we are looking in the skies, obviously, and looking around us and capturing things, anomalies and things like that. There is really so much, and the team has been great. They've been handing me their notes and their data, and I've been uploading everything as quickly as I can to my computer. And I can't share it quickly enough. I can't get it verified enough. I have a great team. I'm outsourcing it as quickly as I can to people. Fortunately, I have great help with Dave Altman, Dave Mason. Thomas Fessler has been helping us with spiriting and getting some of our data out to the public through public sources. We did run into some hiccups with live streaming, but we have been recording 24/7, the skies above us, but had a few hiccups streaming it. So that will be coming. So for the people that have been patiently waiting, we do have Starlink out there, and we do have the capability to source that out but unfortunately there is a few hiccups with that, and so we have some experts that are helping us to do that. And so keep up with it. I will definitely keep everyone in the loop so that when the website is up or when we stream through YouTube, you guys will be able to see all that live. So this initial investigation will stop in the next 2 days, and then we'll be back up next month in another location here in the Uinta Basin. And we've been invited to another location. So we'll start investigating from where we left off here. And at that point, we will definitely be ready to stream live. We'll come absolutely prepared to do that then. This was very much so a test run for the crew and for all the equipment and the Starliner, our large lab rig, and a lot of the tech inside it. We didn't know if we were going to get a signal with Starlink or what that was going to look like. So,
Starlink's brilliant.
It's absolutely brilliant. It's so fast. It's been just an absolute success. So that went well. The camera system streaming to our DVR and all that has been stellar.
What is the purpose of all of this, Tim? What are you and your team trying to accomplish here?
So the final goal is to collate data that can be presented to Congress. And we're working in conjunction with David Marlar and people like Paul Hynek to look into the history and into the data files that have been collated over the years and researched already and considered valuable data. And so for those important cases from history and the new research that we're bringing, we hope to present to Congress.
Very nice. I mean, you have to be careful with working with Paul Hynek, though, because you know he's not funny, right?
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I've heard that.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Paul Hynek, the son of J. Allen Hynek, not funny.
Right.
Not at all.
General consensus rule.
Oh, I
but
hear you.
He's a gentleman and a scholar. And I'll tell
Yes,
you, he does try awfully hard. And so, God bless him for that. But the team here has been really diligently working to get this, all together. We've done all kinds of fringe science as well. We tried a CE5 event yesterday, or day before. I'm sorry, it's blending together. But man, I can tell you a lot of the things that we have tried have been successful. And so you can say one thing or another. We actually decided we would call it human initiated contact, or HIC, instead of CE5, just I think because I didn't understand what it meant. And so somebody on the team just blurted out HIC. And so there we go. So if you guys are into it, I can give you a couple of events that took place. I don't know kind of how we are on time or even if you're interested, but
we got about 7 minutes with you.
You got 7 minutes. Okay. All right. So, I mean, are you even interested in some of the events, or are you interested in the data?
No, tell us about the events that have happened. Okay. Color it up first.
So during the CE5 event that we had, a lot of people may have had their eyes closed. There were a couple people that were working with camera. The people working with camera were actually capturing some, things that were taking place in the skies, while people on the ground that were in their meditative state were also having an experience. One of our team members, Terry Hall, has had an experience here in the past in these grounds where he wasn't feeling so well and had some other things happen with him. I'm sure you may know, some of your audience may already know what happened with Terry Hall. But something very similar happened again during the CE5 event, or the human initiated contact event. And briefly after that, he reclined to go and rest. Half the team split off, half stayed with him. And actually half the team came back to the ranch house here to do a show for you, your after hours crew. So while they were doing that, I guess there was another event that took place that may involve a gentleman named Dave Scott. And Dave, do you remember what happened when you were talking? You gave Terry a call, didn't you, during that time? Would you consider maybe sharing that? If you're okay, I'm okay with this. Would you consider sharing this story with your audience?
I didn't know you were going to put me on the spot.
You don't have to. I have more.
Okay. Well, you mentioned it. I will say it out of full disclosure. Terry Hall and I were talking on the phone, and I said to Terry, before that, I started getting a lot of pressure in my head, and it said 11:30, and I knew it wasn't for me. So I said, Terry, where are you right now? He goes, I'm inside the motorhome. I said, I want you to go outside the motorhome and take a look. I said, stand where you are, which way you're facing. I said, point that at noon or at 12 o'clock. I said, I want you to look between 11 and 11:30. And as he did that, there was a number of multi-anomalous objects seen in the sky that was recorded. And a couple of them actually morphed together to make a line of 4. And then the lights went down to 3, then 2 again before they eventually phased out. That happened. And then the feeling in my head subsided. And then, now remember, I'm in British Columbia. They're in Utah. There's about 1,500 miles between us. And then I said to Terry, I want you to look east from where you are right now, just above the horizon. There's something big over there. And that's where he caught flashes of light, which were not consistent with an airplane's flashes. That seemed very, very large as to my description. And I don't know how long that one lasted, but I know you got that one on tape too. So I've given the front story, you give the back now.
Right. And some of the craft or objects that you're mentioning there were only visible in the IR spectrum, or in a spectrum that isn't visible to the naked eye. And so we're finding a lot of that happening. And that's what makes for compelling data, because we have perfectly clear skies and we're seeing things above us. And last night in particular, we had probably the most intense experience yet. And I'm not fully ready to talk about it, but I can tell you, when we do have this release of data, the audience is going to really enjoy it. There's a lot of head scratching moments. We were working with FLIR last night, and it's not usually a piece of equipment that you use to search the skies, but it is something that we use. And during that operation, we came up with something that's never been seen before. And I can only, describe it as a giant perfect cross in the sky above us. And during the time of that tearing open of this cross above us, which stayed above us for about 30 minutes, there were other things that took place during your show Sunday night, and so a lot of events kind of synchronize up. We were having, orbs of light that your audience were describing in our room here. I was filming outside, getting, some strange anomalies in the sky. At the same time, coming back in here and filming in here, the cameras in here were getting captures that were bizarre. So there's definitely something to the Uinta Basin. I mean, it's hard to get your head around, but if you get a lot of gear and you look into multi-spectrums, and you have, we have sound recording devices, we have EMF, we have gauge meter, everything, all the time, and it's running all the time, or at least as much as we can. And you'll just start to see things happening all at once, getting spikes, getting visual, getting sound data, and then it'll just quieten back down. The EMF will raise in the valley, and something will happen in the skies, and then it just dies back down. There's a theory that goes around that there's a huge magnetic force that gets activated and turned on and off. It kind of is what we saw, but how does that happen? I don't know. We're not there yet. but that's why we're here and investigating. So a lot of interesting things. You know, it's fringe science. There's no way to explain it at this point, but you know, all we can do is collate all the things that we're looking at here as far as data.
Well, we're going to see where that data goes over the next little bit. Tim Seanor, we will talk to you in a couple nights' time for the next UFO report, and I believe that'll be, you know, you might be on your way home by then. You never know.
That's right. Actually, yeah, Wednesday, I will be out on the road Wednesday, so that'll be a tricky one. We'll have to see if Grant's available.
We'll figure that one out.
We'll figure that one out.
Little Timmy Seanor, everyone, in the UFO report.